the master, the ruler of the world, Sid Vicious.
We're definitely live, pal.
It was wrestling. Welcome back, NoDQ Galaxy, to a brand new edition of the NoDQ review. I think it's 373, correct? 373. I'm the moderator, Virtue, this week, being joined by this week's elite panel of the review. Aaron Rift is here. Big G is here. Gino is here, co-moderator. I think you're up next week, Gino.
Yes,
Son
sir.
making his appearance, usually always after a major WWE event, and here he is. And Evan is here. Did I say that right? It's not Yvonne, it's Evan.
Evan
is here, and this could be an interesting show. This is his debut on the NoDQ review. What's going on, everybody? Evan, good to meet you. What's up?
Great to be on, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you.
You ready for this? You know the topics, right? We're going to talk about the Royal Rumble recap. And
I am ready, and I will not hold back.
And we are talking about also Roman Reigns winning it. And who did he challenge for WrestleMania? Son, what's up?
Hey everybody, son, Ghost Raku here, ready to go ahead into this big time review. But this is not just No DQ, this is the official Becky Lynch endorsed No DQ. Even though she was probably being sarcastic, she still took time out of her day to go ahead and promote No DQ, and that is what's up. So yeah, that happened while I haven't been on. So yeah, definitely ready to speak about the Royal Rumble with you all today.
All right, well, thanks for being on. You know how this works, so stay tuned. Gino, what's up?
Yeah, honored to be here as always. Looking forward to talking about an eventful couple of days in wrestling so far, and looking forward to seeing everybody's point of view on it.
And Gino, when somebody disagrees with you, do you get your feelings hurt? No matter what it is. We're talking wrestling tonight, but I'm just asking, you're co-moderator. You got to be right here on the level with me. Do you get your feelings hurt, or you just go right back at them? I'm just asking you.
Sometimes there's a little back and forth, but it's certainly, as long as everybody's not insulting each other, then I think it's all above board, and we're all entitled to our opinion.
Yeah, I mean, that's like doing sports with the guys out on the field or on the court. That's where the insults start, going in to try to throw someone off the game. I think it's kind of cool there. But in this setting, as long as you don't get your feelings hurt because someone has an opinion. Big G, you've been doing this with me for a long time. What's up?
Nothing much. Had a good weekend. Obviously, the Royal Rumble this past weekend, and we got some good topics to talk about tonight. So, like I always say, let's get this ball rolling, baby.
Say that one more time. I like it.
Let's get this ball rolling, baby.
Stay tuned, Big G. I might come to you first a couple times. Put you on the hot seat here. All right, Aaron, what's up?
Well, it's been a busy few days. We had the Royal Rumble pay-per-view in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, and there's a lot of news coming out of the Royal Rumble. We have the main event for WrestleMania 42 officially confirmed. We'll be talking about the fallout from the Royal Rumble. It's great to have Evan on with us, changing the dynamic of the No DQ review tonight. Should be a fun discussion. For anybody watching this live, please spread the word, share a link to this video on social media, and if you're watching on demand, please give this video a thumbs up and spread the word. Just tell your friends about the No DQ review. Psycho Jet Black has arrived in the chat room.
Of course he is.
I had to warn Evan that this stream could go a while, especially if Psycho Jet Black throws in his wild super chats. But Psycho, we have a newcomer tonight, so try to give us some constructive super chats if you can. He says, my first thought when I saw the Royal Rumble was congratulations, Virtue. Well, we can see Virtue's shirt. Also, as Seth Rollins is not ready for WrestleMania, what is the backup plan for Braun Breaker? So if Seth Rollins is unavailable and Braun Breaker doesn't have an opponent, they're certainly teasing something with Adam Pearce. And Adam Pearce has outright said that he can wrestle again. What do you guys think? Adam Pearce versus Braun Breaker, is that a worthy match for WrestleMania? Virtue, what do you think?
No. Adam is not. He's a wrestler back, not in the WWE bubble. So, I mean, who's it going to matter to? Diehard marks that they remembered Adam Pearce wrestling in NWA. Nothing against him, but like it's a wasted WrestleMania spot if that's what happened. And Braun Breaker needs to get pushed a little bit better than that. Just keep him in the GM role. Keep him as, maybe he chooses a wrestler to wrestle on his behalf to go against Braun Breaker. That's fine.
It's going to be LA Knight in my mind, if
LA
that's
Knight?
the backup plan.
Again, no disrespect to Adam Pearce. It's just in the WWE zone, he's not that guy. So it would just be like, wow, really? I mean, they would have had to start building him up as a wrestler for a while now, and they haven't.
All right, well, fair enough. Evan, I'd like to get your take on this, your overall thoughts on Braun Breaker and who you would put him against at WrestleMania if you were in charge.
Break has been there 5 years now. Came in 2021, January, into WWE. I could count his great matches on two hands. I think he's overhyped. I don't see the big deal. And if you're going to have a guy like that, where they emphasize how strong he is, how powerful he is, you put him in with a big guy like Lesnar or somebody, power versus power. I'm not overly impressed with him. I'm older than you guys. I used to see the Steiners live all the time, and I don't think he touches either of them in their prime, at least not up to now. Where's the great matches?
Give him the opponents, the right people, the right feuds.
I mean,
5 years, so it's on WWE too to give him the right opponents. I agree.
Yeah, he really hasn't had like that big standout moment on a pay-per-view yet. We're still waiting for that. Maybe WrestleMania will be that time. Big G, what do you think? Like, who would you put Braun Breaker against?
My money would be on LA Knight at this point if Rollins isn't ready to go.
All right, Son.
Well, we're just trying to get some big WrestleMania matches. Might as well just go ahead and put him against Jacob Fatu because the audience was already eating that up last year when they had that big stare down moment. And I put Braun Breaker up there with Jacob Fatu, Obafemi, and I think even Dominic Mysterio, like four guys that I think can be those potential big four later on for the next era of WWE and stuff. So yeah, I mean, do something big like him versus Jacob if Seth is not ready.
All right. Psycho Jet Black sent in $2. He says, Big G is disappointed that Jeff Jarrett wasn't in the Royal Rumble. So, Evan, there's this running joke because Big G was at an AEW Dynamite when Jeff Jarrett made his debut. And there's actually a photo that circulated around the internet. It's a viral photo. Well, actually,
Aaron, do we have video of that too?
Yes, we have exclusive video of it. Here we go.
Okay.
Listen to me, you people calling in there. You think you can talk like that? Get out of my ring, boy. Make me.
No.
Big G's athletic. He jumped right from the outside of the ring into the ring.
Did Jeff Jarrett just go from the way he looks back then to aging him back or de-aging him back to the way he was in '97? Like that whole video was like, what?
The wonders of AI.
Uh,
All right, Virtue, we're caught up.
So the first, obviously, in the main event, we're going to talk about Reigns winning the Men's Royal Rumble and him challenging CM Punk for WrestleMania. So before that, let's talk everything else about the Royal Rumble. Liv Morgan won. Obviously, Drew McIntyre still the WWE champion. So, thoughts on, the type of entrants that were in the Rumble, who we didn't see. Just your general thoughts, but not Men's Royal Rumble main event. Roman winning. That's what we're going to talk about this first topic. So, Evan, I'm going to start with you. Now, I wanted Aaron to include Liv Morgan on the thumbnail because she won the female Royal Rumble. The women's Royal Rumble, but he did not. So, props to her. But what do you have to say about the Royal Rumble in general, holding your thoughts of the men's Royal Rumble? And that's where it's going to get interesting.
I thought the women's Royal Rumble was an endless slog. It just felt like it wouldn't end. They would cut to a woman running like the length of a football stadium for a minute. They would cut away from the match. She would come in, she'd get her spots in, They would all sell for her like she's a killing machine. Each of the women, 98 pounds, some of them, and the other women would lie there like they're paralyzed just watching. I couldn't wait for this thing to end. I was fighting to stay awake. I really did not particularly enjoy it, to be honest.
Did you like any of the couple of singles matches they had? Obviously, AJ lost to Gunther.
AJ and Gunther was great. That was a great match. Gunther is my favorite active WWE wrestler. The guy's old school. He reminds me of Killer Kowalski. Just keeps coming at you. What can you say about AJ at his age, still putting on bangers? The guy's great. And that was tremendous. But the rest of the card, I could easily live without.
So, like the McIntyre and Sami Zayn, like you didn't have that little bit of hope Sami Zayn was going to win. Like, come on, they're not going to just put the title on Drew just to drop it to Sami Zayn before WrestleMania.
I never thought for a second Zayn had a chance. Zayn looks like every third guy on the New York City subway. You know, McIntyre looks like an elite athlete. It was basically a mismatch to me and a throwaway match. They're killing time until WrestleMania. It did nothing for me, really.
I think you guys actually might get along.
Well, we're not going to get along on everything from what I hear, but so far, yeah, I'm not like...
Can't say I'm not honest.
Because Virtue's not the biggest Sami Zayn fan, I'll tell you that much.
Any of his current opinions on the Royal Rumble up to this point, not counting the men's. So, you know.
I love Sami Zayn in ROH. I'll give him that much.
Yeah. Was he under the hood then? Was he?
Yeah.
Well, all right. Thank you for your input there. And if something else comes up, just throw your hand up. And if I don't see it, Aaron will. So I'm going to go over to Son now because it's been a minute since he's been on. And he does his own Royal Rumble recap and everything. I'm sure he'll tell you at the end of the show to go check it out. But, you know, spoil it a little bit here because you're on the NoDQ review.
Yeah, so I did enjoy the women's Royal Rumble match, and I thought that, quite frankly, it was better than the men's Royal Rumble match. Very much like the entire show, not the greatest Rumble match I've seen, not the worst Rumble match I've seen. Pretty solid show, and pretty solid Royal Rumble match as well. The big thing that I thought stood out, freaking Lash Legend looked like an absolute beast. I was very well pleased with how she was presented in that Royal Rumble. I loved a lot of the story dynamics early on with like Charlotte and Alexa Bliss, basically, where she's like, oh, I didn't mean to, versus the contrast later on where very much when Raquel got eliminated, Liv Morgan absolutely did mean to do that. I was figuring that looking at the current landscape of WWE, because Triple H has done this thing where he's taken all the big main event female talent and thrown them into the tag team division, and then you've kind of had the undercard of the women kind of not really developed that much, which is why we've probably been still waiting for Jade Cargill to go ahead and get that big challenger. And so looking at the landscape, I knew that Stephanie Vaquer and Liv Morgan, that was the championship match before Liv got eliminated. So I'm figured, all right, this is probably what they're going to go with. Liv is going to win, and finally did. And I appreciate the booking consistency because she's constantly been like runner up the last 3 or 4 years, and she finally wins. So Ruka looked awesome in there. So yeah, and overall, I think back and forth, it was really a lot of good action from the women. I was happy to see the Bella twins get their moment. Audience was going crazy for Brie Bella and everything as she paid tribute to her husband Bryan Danielson. I know a lot of people were probably disappointed that we didn't get a lot of surprises, but going into Saudi Arabia, it's going to be hard to probably smuggle some people into another country versus if they did it in America. But overall, yeah, I enjoyed the women's Royal Rumble. And if we're talking undercard, like Evan, I thought AJ Styles and Gunther was the match of the night. Phenomenal. And it was really good for WWE to play up on. Is AJ retiring? Is he not? Because I kind of went in this, I'm like, AJ's got to get out of this some way, and he's probably going to cheat behind the referee's back, give Gunther a piece of his medicine. But no, Gunther beat him. My only thing that was annoying about that was that it's okay to count the 3-arm drop for Cena, which I'm a much bigger fan of the 3-arm drop. I think it builds up much more drama. But in the first, they do the the one arm drop for AJ Styles. So that was the only thing. But other than that, that match was awesome. As far as Drew and Sammy, it was all right. I thought. I don't think it was the best of the matches I've seen. But I would have been happy either way. Sammy getting his big moment or Drew finally retaining the title, because I've been waiting forever for him to get his title run. So yeah, that's my fault as far as all the stuff that happened before the Men's Royal Rumble.
All right. Well, thank you for that. Now I'm going to go over to Big G, who has the luxury of piggybacking off of two people, which I said you were going to go first, and I didn't do it. Go ahead.
No, it's fine. Me personally, I enjoyed the Royal Rumble. The women's, for me, it kind of started off kind of slow first, but then once it hit like number 15, it started picking up because you had your bigger stars coming out. You had Rhea Ripley, Io, Liv, Raquel. You had all them coming out. Sol Ruka impressed me very much. I've enjoyed Sol Ruka since I watched her down in NXT. Lash Legend, like Son said, she was an absolutely beast, and it kind of reminded me of when Shayna Baszler was there a couple years ago and dominated in the Rumble as well. Liv winning, so happy for Liv. Like, she was always the bridesmaid, never the bride. She finally became the bride and got her main event at WrestleMania in Las Vegas. AJ and Gunther, I thought was pretty well done too. I enjoyed it. I'm not trying to piggyback off his son, but I did read his comments that he did talk about the whole arm thing. I thought that was kind of weird. I was like, what's the difference? Well, John Cena is obviously the bigger star than AJ Styles, but why would you do the 3-arm for John Cena and not do it for AJ? Because you want that anticipation. Like, can AJ Styles get out of the sleeper hold? But Gunther has made it a point to literally beat you down and not let you get out of that sleeper hold.
To be fair, back in the day, they didn't always do 3-arm drops for everybody. I think $1 Million Man, $1 Million Dream was only one, but it was inconsistent back then too. So I don't know why they choose to do that, and like what or thought behind it is. But I've seen it.
And then as far as Drew and Sammy, I figured Drew was retaining. He was going to go into WrestleMania, get his big moment finally in front of a live crowd at WrestleMania with the WWE Championship and not losing it 5 minutes after. When I was there at WrestleMania 40, he lost it right after Money in the Bank. So good for Drew. Sammy, I think he'll get his flowers next year at WrestleMania in Saudi. So, but like I said, all in all, I thought it was a good Rumble for me.
Okay, well, thank you for that. And over to Gino.
Thank you, guys. All great points, whether we agree or disagree. Me personally, with the Women's Royal Rumble, I think that it went off about as well as you could expect. There were a few minor tweaks maybe I would have made as to who entered where, things like that. I think Kyrie entered way too late. I think that Bree, who was the only true surprise, which people are complaining about online, there's not enough surprises. Like, how many of these legend women are going to fly over to Saudi Arabia, get new full bodysuit gear made, and just go in there to get tossed over the top rope? Like, I wasn't expecting a lot of that, but once I saw Nikki, I was like, maybe we get Bree. She should have been the final entrant because it was that big pop. But overall, Liv winning, super happy for her. She was overdue. Her stuff in the women's division, whether she's dealing with Dom, whether she's dealing with the Judgment Day, whether she's dealing with Rhea, whether she's the tension that could have happened between her and Roxanne, or what might happen now with her and Raquel. Like, she's got the most going for her, like storyline, soap opera wise stuff in the women's division. And to the contrast of that, the two women's champions don't really have a lot going on. I feel like WWE loves giving people the title when they don't have anything else for them. I digress there. For me, I thought that my biggest concern going into the Rumble was that they were all going to have the same colored outfits, and they really did a good job differentiating, because the night before on SmackDown, I couldn't tell the difference between Alexa and who she was wrestling and all this stuff. And I was like, what's even happening? Like, please tell me they have something better. I know Aaron addressed that on his review that they might have been saving the better outfits for the Rumble, but between that and the stupid lighting and the lack of attendance early on and all that stuff, I mean, that wasn't. I don't make that the event's fault, so I don't like say the event was worse necessarily because of that. But I had a good time with the Rumble. We're going to talk about stuff in the main event, but to build up new stars, you got to. Oh, I guess he didn't like it so much that he probably just had connection issues. But you got to bring in some newer talent. We can't keep relying on stars of the past. If everybody wants to stop complaining about the over 40 people, then you can't say there was enough surprises. And when they mean surprises, they mean legends coming for a one-off that are not going to come back on Monday and Friday. So for me, I was fine with it. Some of the girls from NXT maybe a little underwhelming. Whatever. Lash Legend's going to be a star. Liv is a star. The stuff that they're doing with the tag division, now we know after watching last night that they've got big plans for that, and they've been trying to build that up. The only difference I really would have done is Kyrie would have came out a little earlier, and I think Bree should have finished 30 to have that surprise, because we all sort of suspected that Tiffany was going to be returning because she wasn't injured. She was just taking a break after having wrestled such an intense schedule the year prior.
So, Gino, I'm obviously was happy that Drew McIntyre retained because, like I said, if you finally put the title on him, now you have to have him go to WrestleMania. I didn't want to see him have it and then lose it before WrestleMania, and then he didn't even have a chance to win the Royal Rumble himself to get there. So, like, that was the right decision. I don't care where, Sami Zayn was from or heritage. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't have to always win because of those kind of things. And one day, maybe he'll get a shot. It just hasn't come yet for him.
Yeah, I feel like Sammy's biggest issue with that is timing more than anything. He got hot during Roman Reigns' event right before WrestleMania. Like, it wasn't going to happen. Sorry, Sammy. But the fans in attendance want to see it happen. So eventually it's going to happen if he can continue to stay healthy and those things. But Drew was like putting him out to pasture. Like, it was the opposite of the Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels, where I'm sorry, I love you. It's I'm not sorry, I hate you. Boom, Claymore before you even get to your feet. And that to me was brilliant and exactly what you'd expect from, like Evan said, a guy who looks like a finely tuned top tier athlete versus a guy who, no offense to Sammy, doesn't look like your prototypical, at least WWE archetype star.
And maybe, Sammy wins Money in the Bank at one point. But Gunther's obviously my clear-cut number 2 favorite now behind Roman Reigns, so it's always good to see them finally letting him win. And AJ's time was up, and that's what he wanted to do. 10 years from one Rumble, 10 years later do another one. Let's make people forget that Gunther tapped out, that Gunther lost to Sami Zayn, and don't do anything stupid like that again. And, don't listen to the Bruce Pritchards like, oh, Pat McAfee should go over him right after he lost to Uso. Like, no, push this guy, make him that beast. I'm still trying to get used to the laughing all the time. I guess he's laughing at the fans. I just like a little more serious Gunther. Like, there's been times where he does get serious and he kind of like really gets into his promo and levels up his voice a little bit. That's the Gunther I want. And then as for Liv, and speaking of promos, I remember when she was a women's way back, her promos were awesome. She's come she now belongs. Like, she's out there, she's comfortable. She's not like when she's talking, it's different. So I'm glad to see her evolve into a main eventer. And look, that's what it takes. When we talk later about who won the men's Royal Rumble and this and that, and where's the young stars, I'm just going to plant this seed now. They do need the opportunity, but you also have to grab that brass ring. And maybe that hasn't happened yet. And Roman prefaces that on the Pat McAfee show. But Liv has done that, is what I'm saying. And that's why she's in her spot where she's at now and is going to get a big women's title match at WrestleMania. So she deserves it. Clap, 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 clap. And Aaron, over to you and Psycho Jet Black.
Well, actually, we got one here from Dave Scheffler. Shout out to Dave, who sent in $5. Dave says the last quarter of the women's Royal Rumble was the best part. Liv was the best choice to win. AJ versus Gunther was great. Drew versus Sammy was the weakest match of the night. I tend to agree with everything Dave said there. Big G, you had your hand up, right?
Yeah, just real quick. I just loved it last night when Gunther was speaking in German because I was like, nobody in Philly understands him, but I did.
What'd he say?
Like, I do want more of that.
Pretty much what he had said in English, but he just said it in German.
So
What'd he say? Say it in German.
I don't remember exactly what he said.
Say something that Gunther would say in German.
Big G, do they speak German in Austria then? Or is it Austrian? Is it a different type of language?
I think it's a different, like, kind of this, it's similar, but a different dialect. But you got to remember, he lived in Germany for the longest time, too. So,
Sure, he can speak both. Okay.
so
And he
but
lived in
yeah,
Austria
I
too
loved
for a while too. So
Oh, son?
Yeah, I just want to say right quick because I've been seeing some comments saying that they were expecting AJ Lee and Bianca. Why AJ Lee didn't come, I don't know why. But I wanted Bianca to show up because she would have been my pick, one of my favorites right now. But I'm not sure if everyone is aware of the severity of what happened with her finger. The idea behind it at WrestleMania was to wait it out so that she wouldn't prolong her. So she wouldn't have to basically take so much time away from her career. They wanted to let the finger heal naturally. It did, but it got to a point where she couldn't bend it. And obviously, being a powerhouse wrestler, she needs that grip when she's lifting these women up. And so it got to the point where I think around November, December, it was decided, okay, she's got to get the surgery. She did, which means they had to take the finger apart and put it back together. So 1 to 2 months later, I don't think it's going to be healed enough in time for WrestleMania, for Royal Rumble or WrestleMania. We might not see her back until the spring. And hey, I would have loved to see Bianca back, but yeah, she had to get the finger taken care of first. So that's what's going on with her.
All right, thank you for that, son. And Evan, just so you know, anytime if you want to add something, just put your hand up and we'll get right to you. So,
Okay,
Gino.
thank you.
yeah, I'll lead. We'll give an example of it, right? I did want to address the Gunther finish. It feels like that's what we all wanted to see from the Cena finish, was him just kind of passing out, not actually giving up. I agree with Song wholeheartedly. Somebody needs to explain to me when the referee's allowed to do a 3-hand, because it gets so much more attention. I just want an explanation for it. That's all.
Growing up, I remember like Brutus Beefcake and Piper, they would do 3 during their sleepers. Then I'd watch $1 Million Man and they would just drop it once. They've always been.
Hogan was always 3 from what I recall.
Yeah, I don't know why they ever decided. And I think there would be more consistency with that. But
Yes, for sure.
anyway.
All right. City by the Bay sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Says they missed an opportunity to set up Raquel versus Liv versus Roxanne for the title at WrestleMania. Also, I feel I like Stephanie, but her character would be better as a heel. I don't know how I feel about that. I'm not sure if Raquel's at that spot yet, but I think she's definitely picking up some steam as of late. She's doing the whole big sexy thing. So she's got a little bit of a character going, but I don't know if it's the right time. I know Stephanie's been pretty dominant since she came in, and I don't like her music. I'll tell you that much. Her music is absolute trash.
I'm telling you, just learn to cut promos, and you'll win the fans' respect more than what you do in the ring. And I'm telling you, that's what it is. Liv Morgan, like I said, look at her character, her sex appeal, her promo. Roman Reigns, when he became the Bloodline guy. That's what you do. And if Raquel does that, then next level.
Yeah. Gino?
Yeah, I just want to say, just like everybody else, was very high on Stephanie Vaquer when she came in. She went to NXT. She made the main roster. Everybody loves watching her wrestle. But if you've seen one Stephanie Vaquer match, you've basically seen them all. Even when they do the street fight element, you've basically seen she just does her 3 moves of doom. And there's not a lot of charisma to the way she wrestles. And I think that she's becoming a little bit stale. I would have found it better if they maybe decided to pull the trigger, especially with no DQ. Raquel has Judgment Day. They could have pulled the trigger on that and really set up the drama with Liv potentially choosing, being afraid of Jade, but choosing Raquel. But we'll see where that goes.
Doesn't cut promos. I mean, there's a little bit of a language barrier there. you don't connect with the fans. It hurts. She could be world champion. She could have good, very good matches, great matches. But like Gino's getting bored of her because we're not caring. What are we caring about? You know, she's a world.
Especially not the new music.
Oh,
Yeah.
Evan?
The people that care, hold on, Evan. The people that care about wrestling, I get it. Like they love the matches, they want the long matches and tell the story with that. But that's still, it will always be a very niche part of wrestling. Go ahead, Evan.
WWE is $1 billion corporation. They should invest in some ESL, English second language teachers, and get these guys up to snuff with the promos, the Japanese wrestlers, the Mexican wrestlers, whoever the case may be, because to be a total package, and I'm not talking about Lex Luger, to be a total package, you have to be a great wrestler, great gimmick, great promo. And a lot of these guys cannot cut promos. So, you know, I come from an era with guys like superstar Billy Graham, you know, the Valiant Brothers, Lou Albano. These guys were the Grand Wizard. These were unbelievable talkers.
Yeah.
So, you know, you could have every move in the book, but if you come on and your promo is flat, it's going to work against you. So invest in these people. It's not expensive to hire, you know, an English teacher and get them up to where they should be, really.
Big case, modern of the last 10 or 15 years. CM Punk, he would have never got to the level in WWE. Vince McMahon allowed him to carry the WWE Championship for over a year because he could talk, draw heat. Heat is whether you're a heel or babyface. You know, you could get the crowd's reaction, and that's a perfect case. Yes, Son.
Yeah, I just wanted to add on. I do like Stephanie Vicaire as well, but when I was looking at the match yesterday, when it came to her and Raquel, I was figuring from a storyline perspective, I was figuring that, hey, put the title on Raquel because I think there's a much bigger story to tell if you do Raquel versus Liv Morgan because they've been pretty much tight ever since Rhea turned her back on Liv to join the OG Judgment Day, and you could tell that story of how, hey, Raquel had her back for the last 3 or 4 years, however long they've been teaming on WWE programming. So there's just a bigger story to tell there with that. But it's still time until WrestleMania, so we'll see where they end up going. Looks like based on Raw, they're going with Stephanie versus Liv, but we'll see how it turns out.
One better. They could have had Liv help Raquel win the title, and then there could have been a reason to still keep Vicaire in as a triple threat because, you know what I mean? Like they had ways, and that would have even been a more interesting story because of both Raquel and Liv in it. But yeah, good point.
Yeah. And Liv threw Raquel out. So what better way to make up for that than helping her win the title? Like it's just, they even addressed it. It just felt very, took the wind out of what I thought was a pretty good Raw, all things considered when that happened, to be honest. So.
Yeah. I just wanted to add that I think that you don't necessarily have to be a great promo. If you're a strong enough wrestler, you can go overcome the language barrier. We've seen that with people. I mean, hell, they got Bill Goldberg over without him saying anything. So it can happen. Io's done well despite the language barrier. I think either Io or Asuka, one of them did say that they were taking classes. Actually, it might have been Stephanie. One of them said they were taking classes trying to learn. So, I mean, give them credit for that.
Stephanie did. Stephanie said she was taking classes. That's the reason why she wanted to go to NXT first instead of the main roster because she really wanted to make sure she gets better at that.
Yeah, so I give them credit for that. But, yeah, I mean, there's always more that can be done with that. And, you know, they're doing well. In another era, they might not have connected or, you know, they might have been seen as heels because they're from another country, you know, so by default they would be heels. Evan?
The other side of it is they shouldn't only have these stilted, scripted, endless promos. Let them improv like in the old days. You know, when you write something that's horrible to begin with, you know, you could sound like Laurence Olivier. You could sound like the greatest actor in history, and it's not going to matter if what you're saying is just ridiculous. I mean, let them improv a little. That's what put CM Punk over.
Yeah, like, and to counter Aaron, like, yeah, Goldberg wasn't known for promos, but they gave him a tagline, "Who's next?" That's all he needed with the, you know what I mean? Like, so in that instance, that was his promo, just a couple of words, a phrase, a saying. Io Sky, you know, yeah, sure, she was pushed because of what she could do in the ring, but to me, if she could cut promos better, she could become the all-time great. Like, look where Becky is. Becky can talk. She does, some of her promos aren't the best, but she's given enough opportunity. Becky's considered one of the best of all time.
All right, thank you for that, Virtue. Let me sum up my thoughts on the Rumble, and then we'll get to these other couple of super chats. The Women's Rumble, it was what it was. I didn't hate it, but I also didn't love it. I thought it was fine. To me, they move so quickly. You have somebody coming out every 60, 90 seconds that, they can just come out there and you're anticipating the next person. And when you're watching it with other people, it's also a fun experience because everybody's talking about it and speculating on who's coming out. I would have liked to have seen more surprises, though. And it was very average. I did like Gunther and AJ Styles a lot. I thought that was well done. And Sami Zayn versus Drew McIntyre might have been the weakest match. I didn't think it was terrible. Sami Zayn, he doesn't look the part, but I've always been a big fan of his. I used to watch him in PWG back in 2005, 2006. And I never thought he would get to WWE. So just the fact that he made it, that really says a lot. I think he's extraordinarily talented. And I can understand if he's never WWE champion, but it would be a nice little feel-good moment. It wasn't going to happen here, though. Unfortunately, the ship might have sailed on that. I think his peak was a couple of years ago, and they could do it next year, but I just don't see them putting him in a high-profile match at WrestleMania. So it's probably not going to happen at this point. Drew McIntyre winning ultimately was the right call. Now, we got a couple of super chats here. By the way, I'm going to post this. She already made it public, so hopefully she doesn't get mad at me right now. Here is my wife's reaction to the return of Brie Bella.
3, 2, 1. It must not be something that matters because they're showing us this. What a terrible. This is terrible, Brie.
Oh, she had the
So that
picture.
was female Aaron who said that was terrible. She was the one reacting and said it was terrible. So you can see two very different reactions to Brie Bella coming back.
I just want to say the crowd absolutely loved it. Whether they like women or not, they loved Brie Bella coming out,
what?
and they could not get enough yet.
But
I
No,
think
I
they're
give her
probably just
credit.
thinking this might mean Daniel Bryan comes back.
The Bellas are always been her favorite, and she's stuck with it. And even for retirement and coming back, she's still that fan, and she's not going to be one of those wrestling fans that changes because. So I give her credit for sticking with liking who she likes.
Oh, she said thank you. She's here in the background.
So many people that change their tune on their favorites, and it's nice to see people actually enjoy the ones they do and stick with it the whole time.
Hey, I was one of those, even in 2001 when Stone Cold went heel. I was a kid at the time. I still stayed loyal. Stone Cold was still my favorite one. Everybody else turned their back on him, but not me. I'm a Stone Cold fan all the way through.
All right, not Virtue. Big G, you might have to help me on this. Psycho Jet Black sent in a generous $10 super chat for something I have no idea how to read whatsoever. Could you make any of that out? He's looking at it now.
Yeah. Google Translate it.
Oh my God.
Hey, oh my God, what? Was it?
Can you make heads or tails of it?
It's the theme song to Full House.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice. Well, I'm glad. It's impressive that you knew that.
All right. Well, thank you for that, Big G. Thank you, Psycho Jet Black, for that, for stumping everybody but Big G. Big G passed the test, though, so we appreciate that. All right. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat and says, why didn't they have Obafemi take out Brock Lesnar? Maybe they didn't want to push him too quickly and wanted to save that moment for a later date.
Who eliminated Brock?
It was LA Knight and Cody Rhodes
Cody
together
Rhodes.
during the middle of Jey Uso's entrance.
Yeah, to cut. That was a weird cut to do, too.
Yeah. That's a nice segue into the main event.
In the middle of Jay's entrance, too. I'm like, wait, what happened?
Which honestly I think is better for Lesnar because it's kind of downplayed a little bit, right? It doesn't make him look super duper weak as if he was in there and got eliminated towards the end by one person, personally.
All right. We're all caught up. So, Virtue, we can go ahead and get to the main topic.
Main event, obviously the men's Royal Rumble. really it comes down to the winner of it. Like if you have any thoughts of things that happened throughout the match, like Brock Lesnar just completely no-selling Dragon off and throwing him over, that's going to piss some of those pure wrestling fans off. But Roman Reigns won. Gunther coming out at 30 and seeing my number 1 and 2 favorite wrestlers in the business is the final two was great. It was in Saudi. The shows just didn't have that normal Royal Rumble hype without it being over here in the States. Sorry, Saudi Arabia fans, it's nothing against you, but that's how I felt. So it was prime for Roman Reigns to get a win like that. I mean, last time he won, it was Philadelphia when they didn't want him as the guy. They wanted Daniel Bryan. So here we are, Roman Reigns back heading to the championship match. Now, here's the thing. He's obviously, we know now he's challenged CM Punk. Okay. And CM Punk has never main evented WrestleMania up until last year, night 1, in a match with Roman Reigns. Now it's very probable he's going to headline the event, night 2, because of Roman Reigns. And how fitting is it that he was part of that angle to bring the Shield up and, whatever he said on Cabana's podcast and the whole history of it there is history. And for someone to have claimed that I never wanted Punk and Reigns, like I wrote an article in 2018, on the old NoDQ site that said CM Punk is patiently waiting. And when he comes back, and I picked WWE as the top possibility because AEW didn't exist then, I said, Roman Reigns and CM Punk, there's a future main event. Like I said that before it was cool. That was 7 years ago. But here we are. And I know people have a problem with Roman in terms of when he was with the Bloodline and that was hot, he would take his time off, but he was on a lot more because, with Heyman, they'd always come out, at least on SmackDown, they do the spots, the skits. And then as the years went on, he got, the matches were less and less, and we didn't see him as much. Right? Great on him, getting paid $10 million a year or whatever, probably the most in WWE, and he has the least amount of dates. This is WrestleMania, so I'm sure he's going to be here more. We've talked about special attractions. Brock Lesnar really started doing this. I'm okay with not seeing him wrestle all the time. I think that's going to tick some people off. But let's go around the horn and talk about Reigns winning. Anything else about the Men's Royal Rumble you want to talk about? Him choosing CM Punk for the World Heavyweight Championship, a title he has not held. So that could be another notch on his belt if they do put him over at Mania. Evan, hold your thoughts. I'm going to come to you. Let's get some of these other guys out of the way. Big G, I'm starting with you.
Good. Now, yeah, all right. So all in all, the Men's Rumble I thought was pretty decent. You had the two guys from AAA there, which I thought were, and they could have been used for two other people. I was surprised they didn't use anybody from NXT, to be honest. Obafemi looked freaking dominant in that match. I could see that potentially be a WrestleMania match between him and Lesnar, or Oba versus Gunther, whatever that combination is out of the three of them. I could see a potential WrestleMania match. As far as Roman Reigns winning, I'm not mad. I'm actually glad that he won. It's been 2015 since he's won a Rumble, and I feel like now that you had the whole Jey Uso experience from last year, you want to get back to your biggest star that held the company on his back, for the 3 or 4 plus years with the Bloodline. And I also think, I don't want to say this, but this could be Roman's last run, or, second to last run, because I know he's starting to wind down too and get more into the movie roles like his cousin and other wrestlers who've gone into the movie business. So yeah, I'm more excited that Roman won the Royal Rumble. I know, like you said, a lot of people were upset with him winning, but I'm fine with it. And then him choosing CM Punk last night, they have the history there from 10 years back too, and we're finally getting a match that I think everybody wants to see. So I'm not like I said, I'm not mad about Roman Reigns winning. I'm happy that he won. I think he deserved it after, carrying the title for 4 plus years. And like I said, it's probably his last run or second to last run in the business.
See, Big G, you have to remember when he dropped the title to Cody to help Cody finish his story.
Yeah.
Cody's was already a main event. He came back into WWE in a prominent role feuding with Seth Rollins because he left, right? We remember him as Stardust. He left, did stuff in Japan, Ring of Honor, Impact, whatever, created AEW, helped create AEW. When he came back, like Roman putting him over isn't passing the torch. Sure, it was giving Cody his moment, but it's not like putting over a Braun Breaker or a Jacob Fatu, okay?
Yeah.
Roman Reigns' run now that's pissing some people off because that's what he's always done. You know, the whole bloodline thing, the people were still pissed off, but they were entertained, so they really didn't say it. You know, there were still some people, too much, and he's part-time and can't do this and that. Roman is back because he should be beating Punk, right? We'll see what happens. Should be holding that title. Street Fighter comes out later next year. Perfect time to bring a guy like him back and put the title on. And then that's when you set up who feuds with Roman where we can get them to the next level finally. The younger guys. And that's so I'm interested when I do get to Evan to hear what he has to say because there's so many points on why WWE is doing this with Reigns. And this isn't the Reigns that we had from 2015 to 2019.
No.
Okay, this is the post. This is basically still Bloodline Reigns, but on his own, and he's improved his game across the board.
Yeah.
People can't deny that. Gino, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're absolutely right. You know, people are hating on Reigns because, well, he said they're not making new stars, and then he wins the Rumble. Well, like, he's right. There aren't those younger guys. And you mean to tell me he's going to say no to being told he's going to win the Rumble? Absolutely not. The Royal Rumble and winning it isn't how you're supposed to make a star. The winner of the Royal Rumble is supposed to be your big marketing tool player for WrestleMania and advertising it. And now we have 2 months of knowing you're going to see Roman Reigns versus CM Punk now, which is something that will sell tickets, versus somebody like Jey Uso. Will he challenge Cody? No. Will he challenge Gunther? Blah, 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 blah. You have to beat up my brother to make me want to really fight you and blah, 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 blah. Bunch of bullcrap. The winner of the Royal Rumble is supposed to be some of your top stars who you want to see close a night, but close the entire show WrestleMania weekend. Roman Reigns shouldn't have even been declared for the match if he wasn't going to be the winner. I'm glad he was the winner. Having said that, entrant 30 should be a surprise. Having an already announced wrestler come out at 30, that means that by 29, all the air is out of the stadium. There's nothing really to get hyped for. You know, Gunther's coming out. He just came off of a match. There were definitely spots in that Rumble for Finn Balor, so that's upsetting to some degree. The masked man thing, here we go again. Another masked man. What are we going to do? Nobody's even really talking about that because of all the hate that they want to spew at Roman Reigns for speaking the truth. Come on now. Respect your tribal chief, and people who are mad are going to have to just get used to enjoying the ride that the Bloodline's family is taking them on.
You know, I don't think 30 always has to be a surprise. Like, I know.
Okay.
Because, like, what if it was Reigns at 30 or Lesnar? And, yeah, Gunther because he already had a match and maybe that's what did. But, like, you can have the right person that's already announced. Like, because then you're going through everybody and you're like, oh, my God, Lesnar's last. Here we go. Things are going to pick up. We're at the end. So
Sure.
30 can still be somebody we know, but you have to do it right with the right combination of people left. So I could see where maybe Gunther wasn't quite right. Maybe if he would have been like 29 and then you had someone else at 30. But here's the thing with Reigns. You know, last year they had Jay win it, fresh off all the Bloodline stuff. And the entrance was there. That excitement was there. But the delivery of him beating Gunther and kind of carrying that title, and you know the matches weren't the best, and I'm usually don't care about that, but he looked sluggish and son of a like there almost needed to be a hey, we need Roman, we need this to get the Samoan, the tribe, the tribal chief, the bloodline back to what, because Jay just didn't really pan out like we wanted to. That could have also factored in a little bit to Reigns being the one that they chose to win it. because Jay maybe didn't have that great of a singles title run, and they want people to kind of like forget that so it doesn't pull down the bloodline in general, because Jay was very much a big part of that. And solo act, other than his entrance, a lot of critics, right? So I want to throw that out there too. Just another reason why maybe they did go with Reigns as well, to pick up where Jay really didn't truly deliver on behalf of that bloodline and the long-term story. Gino, did you have anything else you wanted to add before I pass it along?
I agree with you. Again, you can build stars and have these face-to-faces and have these great moments, but your winner of the Royal Rumble needs to be somebody that you can absolutely rely on, not be like, I'm going to give you the ball, kid. Do you think you can do it? And he's like, I don't know, because we saw that on Unreal where Jay's like, I don't know. He's like, can you do it? He's like, okay, yeah, I can do it. It's like, come on. And you knew he wasn't going to main event either night. So this is the absolute right call. I completely agree.
And look, I know, it's not like he challenged, like Cody was still the champion and we were going to get Roman Cody 3. Then I could be like, oh, here we go again. 3 out of the last 4 years. They did go in a different direction. I mean, if we're not getting Rock and Roman Reigns, right? What are some of the next best things we can get? Well, Rock or Roman Reigns and CM Punk one-on-one, not with Seth Rollins in there, with Heyman in the mix, just a one-on-one, best in the world, the tribal chief. We're getting it. Push Roman back up to the top, tribal chief, maybe a world champion. Let's finally get the rocket behind Jacob Fatu. What better way? Take it from Roman, take the tribal chief from Roman. That's a torch passing. And they have an opportunity. By Roman getting back to the top, now you have opportunities. Just saying. Now, still going to make Evan wait, because I'm really interested to hear what he's going to say. Son, go ahead.
All right, let's see. I'll try to keep this as condensed as I can. I'll just break this up into 3 parts. So first, the Royal Rumble match for the men's. Like I said, I didn't think it was as good as the women's match, but freaking Obafemi looked absolutely dominating. Like, that right there is definitely a superstar to me. His presence, his confidence when he's talking on the mic, it looked like an absolute beast. I also thought when they had Royce Keys come out, that was quite interesting, because I'm still catching up on AEW. I'm about a month behind. I'm right to where MJF has won the world title. So Powerhouse Hobbs, on what I've been looking at, is still on AEW. I'm like, oh snap! I'm like freaking Powerhouse Hobbs. A lot getting mad that he's changed his name to Royce Keys, but it's something very similar to him. Royce being the name of his son, and Keys being the name of his late mother. So I see so many people get mad when they do these name changes, and often more times than not, a lot of these wrestlers are choosing it themselves as something that's personal to them. So I'll get pretty used to it, but I'm glad to see him get a shot here in WWE compared to how he's being used in AEW. And then as far as the men's Rumble, I would have loved to see a little bit more from what we got with Brock Lesnar and Obafemi. We did at least get that one clothesline takedown with Brock, but then they had Brock eliminate Obafemi, and then you had Brock eliminated by during Jey Uso's entrance, eliminated by Cody in LA Knight, but it was like such a half cut, like, whoa, what happened there? If I had any other really big complaint about the Royal Rumble, listen, I love Jey Uso, and I know there's a lot of fans out there on the internet that complain about Jey Uso, but I think we have got to stop with this running it back in the middle when the stakes are super high in the middle of a match. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you just turned your back.
At least Roman clocked them.
Like, yes, right? I loved it when he smacked them and stuff, like, and threw him out. And then I'm like, anyone could just come and push you up over the ring. So, see, stuff like that is going to make people that dislike Jey Uso not like him anymore. And then people like me who do like Jey Uso, that's the stuff that makes it like, come on now. I'm like, Jey Uso and Aaron, we were there last year for it. Yeah. Jey Uso came out all business. I'm like, just save the yeeting for the start of the match, for the entrance, or after the match. So, yeah, that was the only thing there. But other than that, solid Royal Rumble. Well, I thought the big thing, though, that hurt this men's Royal Rumble is I felt they left a lot on the table. They were one of the reasons I was so hyped, because I was like, man, Braun Breaker versus Oba, Jacob Fatu going against Brock Lesnar. We did get Jacob and Roman. I thought they left a lot of big physical interactions on the table there. And sure, a lot of these guys are young enough where we'll definitely get more of that down the road. But if what Cena said is true about Brock Lesnar looking to be this retirement, I'm hoping this might be the only time we ever get Oba versus Brock in the ring. So we got to see there. And I love the way they played up Gunther at the end because he's on such a roll and everything with everybody he's been eliminating. So overall, solid men's Rumble match. And we get to the finish itself. Roman Reigns wins. I see there's been controversy, but to me, I thought it was a great moment. I dare say a beautiful redemption moment, because my biggest thing about Roman Reigns, I've been a fan of him since the Shield days, and I was always saying here on this channel, my channel, Vince McMahon, just let the guy be himself. Don't try to push him like John Cena 2.0. He comes back for that 2015 Royal Rumble. He's got the blue contact lines. He's saying the Southern Succotash line, and you see the fans are just booing. And at the time, a lot of us were for Daniel Bryan, and you see they throw The Rock out there trying to hope that, okay, if The Rock's endorsing him, people are going to cheer. Just so much messed up about that Royal Rumble. So to me, it's really great to see all the years later here with what Joe Anawati has put into the Roman Reigns character, becoming the tribal chief, getting back to becoming a babyface at 2024 Royal Rumble, and fans are organically cheering him. And if you look at this finish, fans were all going out of their seats, throwing their ones up in the air. I was out of my seat like, yeah, let's go, Roman. And he's gotten that organic cheer because he's earned that respect from the audience because of his work that he's done over the last 5-6 years. And you could tell it meant a lot to him, because that promo the following night, he's up there talking to Philadelphia, and he's like, it didn't sound like that before. And the fans, they didn't boo him. They still just cheered him and stuff. And I'm like, it's great to see Roman Reigns get that redemption moment. And I'm not one for having like a second Rumble winner. Like when Shawn and Austin won it their second times, it was clear, okay, we're going to go with them as the established ones. A lot of the people that won in the 2010s, early 2020s, they were already established. But I always was saying, like, you know what? I said it last year. If anyone deserved a redemption Rumble moment, it's Roman Reigns. And that's the great beauty of this whole thing, is that Roman did it as himself, being this character that's more organic, and seeing the fans give him that respect and everything. And as we go into the last part of it with the promo battle between it was between CM Punk and Roman Reigns, man, I thought that was straight fire. CM Punk, he's been one of my all-time favorites because as a teenager, when he first came to WWE, I've been straight edge all my life, so I was able to really relate to seeing a straight edge superstar in CM Punk. And then in more recent times, Roman Reigns with this tribal chief, he's become one of my favorites. So now seeing these two go at it on the mic was great, and they dropped some great hints, like when he was like, I've been like 434 days as champion, and just because you did it longer doesn't mean you did it better. And Roman Reigns comes back at him and basically going like, you know what? I hate you, and I will make sure you acknowledge me.
Dude,
I'm like,
Roman
oh my
didn't-
gosh,
yeah.
let's go.
He didn't let Punk intimidate him. He stuck with him toe to toe, and that was
Yes,
Reigns' best promos. And like I said, he's come a long way.
for
And
sure.
dude, Punk, when they like looked at each other when Roman was leaving the ring, you could even tell Punk was like a little bit proud of what happened right there. Again, Punk was a mentor to a point, right? I mean, and then left the company, so it's a lot of emotion, and fans know all of this. I mean, what else are you gonna do? So, are you good, son? You get everything off your chest?
Yeah, I'll just finish up with where we're going here. He mentioned the podcast where he was saying you try to bury me on your podcast with your best friend, though. Really, I think he was annoyed that all the people backstage kept saying like, "Hey, we want to make sure you make Roman look really strong." He's like, "Well, how about I beat him?" No. We want you to go over, but just make Roman look really strong. And he said even during his time in AEW, he said, "That's what I was saying. Let Roman be himself." Yeah, I'm really hyped for where they're going for WrestleMania. Roman Reigns versus CM Punk. As a longtime CM Punk fan, it's really cool to see that we've gone from, oh man, is he gonna main event WrestleMania at least once, to now he's getting a 2-time WrestleMania main event. So that's awesome. But I'm not gonna ignore the issues. Yeah, WWE still needs to build their new stars, and I think, as I mentioned earlier, they've got a whole place of great new talent on the rise. So use Roman Reigns and CM Punk as your big draw for WrestleMania, but there's no reason why throughout 2026 Triple H and the creative can't build up the current young talent that they have. So when we get to 2027, there's no need to have to rely on CM Punk and Roman Reigns. But I will say, yeah, this is the best option, because if Stone Cold's not coming out of retirement to face CM Punk and The Rock's not coming out of retirement to face Roman Reigns, might happen at WrestleMania 43. This is the best match you can do, and that's my stance on all that.
Dude, and Gunther's like my number 2, and I like the fact, him coming out, but he was gassed from retiring AJ earlier. I think there still could have been a better last person in there with Reigns. Like, they could have set something up for the future, like Fatu or Braun Breaker, and then maybe the hooded guy comes out and kind of meddles in that. Like, there could have been. I think a little bit, the ending could have been done a little bit differently where Reigns still went over. That could have left some people a little more satisfied because they would have got him thinking about, oh, what does that all mean? The Gunther thing, it was just kind of like, oh, he retired AJ, comes out. No, he's out there so Roman could win. So I get it. Now we're going to go over to Evan because I have a feeling completely different opinion.
Your microwave food is ready, Virtue.
I don't have a microwave.
Your pizza rolls are ready.
So this is where I get Virtue to hate me.
Uh-oh.
Go ahead. I will not interrupt you until you're done talking. Go.
Let me preface this with I was always a big fan of the Shield. I think they're one of the all-time great tag teams or factions or trios, however you want to label them. I liked Reigns back when the fans were booing him out of the building, when all the fans were, the guy's getting too much of a push. And I always liked Reigns. But Reigns and Punk between them are 87 years old. And I think $1 billion corporation at some point has to have the courage to say, who's the hottest guy they have right now? Jacob Fatu. The Bloodline storyline was also one of the great angles of all time, but it peaked with Cody beating Reigns. It's after the fact. He's predictable. He's going to do the drive-by, the spear, and the Superman punch that misses by a foot that looks ridiculous. Jake Roberts publicly said he doesn't think Reigns is leaving it all in the ring anymore. And I tend to agree. He wrestles very sporadically, and when he does, occasionally, you get a great match out of him. Back in the day, you almost always got a great match out of him. I saw Cena and Reigns headline Madison Square Garden, and it was a tremendous, tremendous match. And I like Reigns. I think him and Punk will have a great match. I think it'll send the fans home happy. But if it were me, you have the guts and have Jacob Fatu in the main event and put over a new young star, create Jacob Fatu and Braun Breaker and guys like this, Oma Femi, these guys are the future. These guys are the future. Reigns is looking at Hollywood. He's got one foot out the door. And again, nothing but respect for Reigns, especially with his health issues and coming back from everything. I'm a fan, but, I'm not jumping up and down. I'm not running out to spend $37,500 for a second row seat. Believe me, if that were $40 at the Garden, I'd go. I don't have the awe and wonder for this that some of you guys have. I'm sorry.
So you like Jacob Fatu, you want him to win. And look, I'm not going to argue with that because like I just said that earlier, I'm willing to wait longer. So that's where I'll disagree with you. Yeah, I know the winning the Rumble, going to the Rumble as the young guy that like Jay did last year. I know he's not younger, and then getting that moment there, and that's where you create your star. But to me, Jacob Fatu, we know he's Samoan. If he is going to be a top star in the game, bring back Roman for his last true top title run. Have him, while he's doing it, he's going to have to win the Rumble to get there and beat CM Punk. There's a classic feud match promos. We're going to get that out of the way. Check. Get Reigns back with the title. I know people hate that because he's going to have his vacations, take the summer off, go promote Street Fighter, which, again, from a business standpoint, makes sense for WWE to do that, even if we only see Roman every third week to cut a promo and wrestle just 2 times the rest of the year. That's the reality we live in. Thanks, Brock Lesnar, for that. But you have Reigns at that level because, like I said, when he put Cody over to help Cody finish his story, well, that was for the present, not the future. Cody wasn't the future. When Cody beat Reigns, he was that immediate present, the present.
Yeah.
Build Reigns up now as a world champion, and then you're head of the table. We're probably, if we ever get Rock and Reigns, I know Big G, it's never going to happen. Saudi Arabia, but that would be the only one that could maybe talk Rock into doing it. Probably never going to happen. What else can we do with this tribal chief thing? If Roman's going to Hollywood, if Roman's It's going to do less and less as the years go by. Build him up one last time. Ulafala, World Championship. I don't know when it's going to be. I don't know if it would be at SummerSlam or all the way at WrestleMania next year in Saudi. I don't know when it would be. That's when you put Fatu over Roman Reigns and he takes it all. And Roman, that's propping the next guy up for several years. Just like when we had Roman get pushed by Vince McMahon, that's the time for Fatu now. And you do it properly. That's the proper way to do it. Use everything Roman Reigns has created through all the bad, through all the good of the bloodline, and you make Fatu off of Roman Reigns. Samoan makes sense, and give him the tribal chief all in the same spot. So we're kind of not too far off. I just am willing to wait a lot longer than you. You wanted it now. I figured I'm never getting Rockin' Reigns. Well, let's get this Fatu. And if that never happens, I'll be very pissed. I'll be pissed at Triple H. I'll be pissed at all of them. How do you miss that? How do you not let that happen? Anyway, would you like to add anything to that, Evan? We do got to get Aaron soon, but go ahead.
I was an associate producer on the movie 350 Days, also The Wrestler. And I come from an era where the champions, we got the title 350 days because the NWA champs literally wrestled 350 days a year. So Roman, who during his last reign, ironically, Reigns' reign, wrestled 14 times in the entire year. This is before he had a major motion picture to promote. You know, he wrestled 3 times the past year, 3 times. I mean, why would you go with this? I mean, I want to see a champion defending a title with some degree of regularity. At least Cody and Seth Rollins, these guys are out there busting their asses. And okay, so Reigns will main event a couple of pay-per-views. And how often is the guy going to have a great match at this point?
This isn't the 70s anymore, Evan. Like, they don't do house shows, which they nobody sees those. Like, how often do we see Hogan? All those times he defended the title at house shows, sometimes twice a day. We never saw that. We only saw the big pay-per-views, okay? So here's the thing. It's special attraction. It's TKO now. It's not WWF, let alone WWF. So they want to be like boxing, like UFC. The main champions, they only do a couple bouts a year. I know it's wrestling, and wrestling fans want their wrestling. They're just trying to be above that. And what better way to at least figure all this in with Roman's part-time contract than, hey, that's how we're going to have to do it. And look, if it's all meant for him to give it to somebody that you can see wrestle more often and be on TV every week, like Jacob Fatu, then you're going to go through this misery, but you'll be happy in the end. So I get it. You want to see him more. There was a period of time when Roman started getting more part-time. I was getting like, I'm not going to see him as much. I'm going to see him, and it's gotten worse and worse and worse. But it's telling me the end is coming, right? And you might have a completely different path, career path. And so I'm hanging on to every thread, and I don't care if it's few and far between. Because if he's still doing it, at least we still got something. Because one's going to be gone. And I don't want it. A lot of wrestlers that do it way, way older than they should. I don't like that. Like, I do like when AJ, and we'll have to see what his career ends up being after this, but Cena, I like some of these guys deciding a little bit younger. Michaels did it right, minus Saudi Arabia. So I'm fine with this. I don't care about the part-time special attraction. And I used to be wanting to see my guy more. But it is what it is. I don't care about the PWI 500. And if he doesn't have enough matches to qualify, I don't care about that anymore. Because at least I know he's going to be in the main event of WrestleMania for the 11th time. Yes, Evan.
That's all good and fine. And I tend to agree with most of it. But at the same time, if you're only going to wrestle 3 to 14 times a year, come out each and every time, give 110%. You can't tell me that match with LA Knight that he had was any kind of, the level that this guy's capable of. You can't phone it in if you're making millions of dollars and you're a part-timer.
Never phoned it in. And, it's LA Knight, right? I mean, it's hard. Dude, it's hard to get a fan's perception when LA Knight never got a proper push. So it's going to be hard to get anything out of that. And you just can't look, you're not going to get 5-star matches, if that's a real thing, you're not going to get those top quality matches every time out of wrestlers. And anybody that expects that, it's just silly. I just think it's silly. I've never, like, it's great when a great match comes along and your favorite wrestler's in it, but sometimes they just don't happen. Has Reigns had a lot of stinkers? Yeah. There's been some that were way shorter than I wanted them to be. But at the end, I was like, oh, he won. Like one of the matches with Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. Yeah, what? It was just like 13 minutes. Reigns went over. I'm like, that's it? But then
The ring entrance shouldn't be longer than the match.
Slam, and we saw a tractor and the ring get tipped over. And I'm like, save more for later. But I get it, right? You have that right to that opinion. I just say we're going to disagree there a little bit. And like a year from now, we may not even be talking much about Roman Reigns anymore. So I'm glad we have the chance to do it now. But I do got to go to Aaron in the super chats, or else we're going to be here till 9 o'clock. Thank you, Evan.
Sure.
All right, Evan, anything you wanted to add before I give my thoughts?
Oh yeah.
I hope they have a great match and send the fans home happy, because the obscene prices that WWE charges, they deserve to go home happy.
I think Evan's more pissed off about pricing right now. I really do. But anyway.
Well, I mean,
when you go to wrestling, specifically WWE, is it the Garden and Barclays? Like, is that, you live in New York area?
Yeah, I'm a New Yorker. Yeah.
So, yeah, dude, I feel for you. Because look, on my Facebook every now and again, I'm seeing people go into these apartments. Hey, look at these Brooklyn and Manhattan apartments, $3,500 a month. And I'm like losing it, because I live in Ohio. Trust me, it's completely different here. So I feel you. Like
I saw those Garden ticket prices for Raw. That was insane.
122 on top in the nosebleeds to 2,000 plus ringside for a TV taping. Imagine if he agreed.
All right.
That is absolutely ridiculous. I'm shocked they're able to get away with it, but we'll see how long that lasts. I think you both made great points, and I could see where both of you are coming from with that. On paper, I like the idea of Roman Reigns winning and being in the main event of WrestleMania. If I was putting together WrestleMania, I would want the biggest stars possible on the show in the main event. So I get that, but I see where Evan's coming from, where Roman Reigns has been very much a part-timer now. He hasn't been around. He's only done a few appearances. They seem to be more rare than ever before. And it reminds me of Brock Lesnar. And one thing I didn't like about Brock Lesnar's run several years ago was that he would win the WWE title and then he would disappear. Basically, the title would be on ice and he wouldn't be around. So I didn't like that. And if Roman Reigns is going to come back and have one final run, which I'm not opposed to, I would be fine with that. I would be cool with Roman Reigns coming back and even being WWE champion for one more run. And maybe he puts over Jacob Fatu or somebody like that to pass the torch. I would be totally fine with that. But I do agree with Evan that if Roman's going to come back and be the champion again, he's got to go all the way and have one really strong run, commit to it, and not just show up every 3 months, make one appearance, and then disappear again. So I'm totally with Evan on that.
In his dates last year, that's obviously a lot for Roman at this point. What about something like that? Like the amount of dates that John Cena had?
I mean, that would definitely be an improvement. I mean, he really didn't do all that much last year. But I think that if he comes back and he's committed and he'll be around for the long haul and there is a plan, then I would not have a problem with Roman Reigns coming back and doing one last run. But the question is, will it just be another Brock Lesnar where he wins the title and then he's gone for 3 months and the title's on ice? Like, that would suck. I would not be a fan of that. Evan?
I also like Lesnar, but there were times he was wrestling. It was like the guy had a train to catch. He had 1 foot out the door. You don't put on a 4-minute match on a pay-per-view for the kind of money they're charging. Come on.
I get where you're going with that. I'm not saying you're wrong on that at all. Those guys can get away with it, it seems. Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, they can get those big contracts. But at the end of the day, you do need to focus on the future. WWE over the years, they've always been good about building their new stars, but lately it seems like they've really focused on their part-timers, the Brock Lesnars, the Roman Reigns, and when he was wrestling, they were relying on The Undertaker, and you just can't do that. At some point, the audience is going to grow tired of these characters, and you're going to need to build some new people. But Roman Reigns, to his credit, he's still getting the great reactions. We saw at the Royal Rumble, the big pop for him. And that segment on Raw, I thought was great. I thought Roman Reigns was top tier. And what a difference from the 2017 period. I think of that John Cena face-off that they had when John Cena just absolutely put Roman in his place. And Roman really has come so far since that segment. So I'm excited for it, but I am a little bit skeptical, and I don't blame Evan for feeling the way he does about it, because Roman didn't do a whole lot this past year, and who knows how much more he's going to do. If Street Fighter does well and Roman gets more movie offers, he might already have one foot out the door. So we'll see what happens. We do have some super chats here to get to, just a couple, and then we'll wrap this up. The Anime Gen 2.017 said Needle Mover versus the Needle Mover. Well, Roman Reigns is definitely a guy who can be considered a needle mover, and CM Punk for that matter. Like, anytime he's in the news, my traffic on NoDQ goes up. CM Punk has always been a needle mover for me, and Roman Reigns most certainly has been a needle mover. You see the t-shirts and the reaction when he won. People definitely care a lot about Roman. Jake Lay Carpenter 6088 sent in a £2 super chat. Says, if WrestleMania comes to the United Kingdom, would any of you consider going? Probably not. I'm not a big traveling guy, so I don't think I would want to go that far. I mean, I would like to visit the UK, but not necessarily for a wrestling show. Would anybody travel to the UK for that? Anybody in this group?
I wouldn't travel the 2 hours to Orlando for a WrestleMania, let alone go across the world to be honest.
I go to Japan for Wrestle Kingdom.
Well, there you go. I mean, that would be cool just to go to Japan for something like that. But yeah, I'm just not a big fan of traveling. I wouldn't
see the sights, see everything. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I would want to go more just to go sightseeing than the actual wrestling, with all due respect to WWE or New Japan or any other promotion. Like, if I was going to travel and go 12, 15 hours, whatever, like, I'd want to go do the sightseeing. The wrestling would pretty much be secondary.
I'm spoiled. Like, even if it was Rock and Roman at Wembley, I would be like, I'm just going to watch it on ESPN at home, HD TV.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. Mr. Tito sent in a $2 super chat. He says, Virtue doesn't need Viagra when Roman Reigns gets pushed.
Damn.
That is very true. No lies detected.
Yeah. Don't think. I mean, I never need Viagra, but that's okay.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing that.
Also, men don't make me feel that way, but that's okay. Just being honest.
All right, Dave Scheffler
How would
sent
I
in.
want to be him? That's a different story.
All right.
Sure, who wouldn't want?
Fair enough. Dave Scheffler sent in a $2 super chat. Says, one of Roman Reigns' best promos last night ever on Raw.
Yeah, top.
Yeah.
I'd have to go find another one, but top two.
Yeah, definitely one of his better promos. I mean, not too many guys can go toe-to-toe with CM
One
Punk.
comes to mind that I like equally is the one where he's like, I think it was with Lesnar, and he's like, this is my ring, do you remember that one where he's like on the outside of the ring and my announce tape, I was
there for that SmackDown when he did that.
That would be the one I would like have to really listen to him over and over again to figure out what I like.
He was like, this is my ring, this is my announce table, this is my people.
Promo, it's not always about what you say to, it's the inflection and the passion. Like, that's why, sometimes it's like you can hear them struggling. Like, if they're not into it, I'm not believing it, and Roman had that problem for a long time. Now he believes what he says, and it makes it interesting.
I was always a big fan of the one he cut after Logan Paul, which was not even in the ring or on the microphone. He's just walking up, talking to the camera. He's like, this is my ring. This is my camera. And he's shaking the camera. He said, I'll run it all. And he looks over at the entire audience, goes like, all of it.
That's
I'm like, I love that.
Off the one SmackDown promo.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Well, here's something about Braun Breaker. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $5 super chat. Says, even though he's currently a heel, it feels like Breaker is booked in a way where WWE doesn't want the fans to think he's being shoved down our throats. Mm-hmm. Well, Evan, you were critical of Braun Breaker. Do you agree with that take?
I think 5 years in, they should finally push the guy to the roof if they think he's capable. I mean, how long are you going to wait? 7 years, 10 years? I mean, go for it finally. All these guys are ancient. They've been there 10, 15, 20 years. It gets stale after a while. No matter how great Seth Rollins is, do we need to see him for 15, 20 years? Make some new stars, please.
I agree with you, Evan. I'm with you on that. And, I hear people always say, well, this guy's too green or that guy's too green. I'm like, dude, just let them go out there and sink or swim. Like Bill Goldberg was extremely green and he was hot. He was fun to watch in WCW. I got a lot of enjoyment out of him just coming out there and beating up guys in 2-minute matches. Like I thought it was entertaining.
Pushed Gunther relatively quickly, and he stayed up there. Even with some shitty booking losses they gave him.
And I can tell you
Batista
this.
up there in 3 years.
When I was watching Bill Goldberg in WCW, like I never thought, man, that guy doesn't know how to wrestle. I never thought it. It never came to my mind. Like some fans are like obsessed with
Aaron. We were
moves and if guys are green in the ring. Like I don't care. I just want to be entertained. That's all. And if a guy has some star presence and has some momentum, I think WWE should capitalize on it. Like they did that with Brock Lesnar. He came in out of OVW and bam, 6 months. He was the world champion. They just went with it. He had the momentum and they capitalized on it. And I think they really should with these guys. If Breaker's the guy or not, it's up to him to sink or swim. What did you do, Big G?
No, I think that's coming from Evan because you're in New York area.
Yeah,
right?
it's New York. There's always something going on.
Okay. Yeah. For once, it was a Big G. All right, we got one more here from Psycho Jet Black, and we'll do our plugs. Imagine Roman Reigns versus George Hackenschmidt. That's a throwback right there.
It's awesome to see he's cutting us a break this week. All right, maybe he's got to wait for his next paycheck.
I told him to take it easy this week when we got Evan on for the first time. All right, let's go ahead, Virtue. Let's do our plugs.
All right, go ahead, Evan. Thanks for being on the show.
My pleasure. My new book is Wrestling Rings, Blackboards, and Movie Sets. And if you look at the cover closely, you got Kowalski, Nikolai, Lanny Poffo, Johnny Valiant, Jimmy Valiant. These were all dear friends of mine. And a lot of them are gone now, and we honor them. And they're little vignettes, little anecdotes about, having these guys sleeping on my couch, some of them, and what it's like. I was an agent for many, many years in wrestling, still am. And the good, the bad, and ugly of pro wrestling and more, because it's juggling 3 careers: wrestling, blackboards as a school teacher, and movie sets as a film producer. Like I said, I was an associate producer on The Wrestler. I tell the inside story of making The Wrestler. That's Mickey Rourke with me on the cover. We also had meetings with Nicolas Cage that I talk about in the book. That's him also on the cover. So, check it out. And this Sunday, 8 a.m. Pacific time, we're showing an old movie that we made called Wrestling Then and Now with Kowalski, with Nikolai, Don Arnold, who goes way, way back to the 40s and 50s. And you could check that out. We're screening it free early Super Bowl Sunday. We figure people will be home. Well, thank you, whoever wrote that just now. Thank you.
You know who popped on the cover of that book? Richard Pryor.
Richard Pryor. That's what I say. You knew Richard Pryor?
Drawn to Richard Pryor, man.
I did not know Richard Pryor, but there's a piece on him in the book. Yeah.
Wow.
A legend.
Oh, yeah. He was amazing. Greatest comic ever.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's on. Over to you.
All right, so go ahead and let Aaron get the graphic up there.
Oh, yeah, let me pull that up. Falling asleep at the wheel here.
All right, yeah, so you can follow me on both my YouTube channels at Sun Goshoku Wrestling, where you can find my seasonal wrestling WWE reviews and rankings. Got my Royal Rumble up there. I'll have another one coming up soon for WrestleMania 42. And then on my main channels, where you can find my Dragon Ball content. Recently, I just reacted to the brand new Dragon Ball announcements that are coming out, and I'm also doing live streams of Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, so you can definitely find all my content there for voice acting, anything, any of my acting, short films, voice acting, stuff like that. Also, obviously, everything Dragon Ball. You can follow my social media platforms there, all there on at Sun Goshoku, and I'll leave a comment where you can go ahead and check that out. That being said, it has been great as always coming back here on NoDQ talking professional wrestling with you all. Evan, it was very good to hear your thoughts too. Basically, you have seen a lot as a wrestling fan, so it was really good to hear. Even if we all are agreeing or disagreeing, it's still good to hear that take. And what I get out of this too is just shows how generational professional wrestling is, because like how you were going back to a lot of your time watching pro wrestling from the start, I find myself often going back to the 90s talking about, hey, this is how I saw storylines going on back then and everything. So it really is incredible to really see just how professional wrestling can affect everybody throughout the different generations. So it was definitely an honor to do the show with you, and always good to see you, Big G, Gino, Virtue, Aaron, and the rest of the No DQ crew. So yeah, I know I was joking earlier about Becky Lynch going ahead and sarcastically being it, but that is super awesome that Becky Lynch still, like I said, took time out to even shout out No DQ as well. So yeah, everyone, I'm looking forward to next time I can come on. But yeah, thanks for having me.
Can I just say quickly, the one thing that unites all of us is going to wrestling as a kid, whether it was the 70s, 80s, 90s, whatever. You went with your father, you went with your mother, you went with your family, and now some of them are gone. So it becomes some of the most meaningful, beautiful nights of your life. Really.
Look, Evan, you mentioned that, and I remember going to 1992 Survivor Series at Richfield Coliseum with my dad, and Mr. Perfect was going to walk out of the match, and he literally stopped in the aisleway. It's like, should I go back and help Savage or not? I think, yeah, he was teaming with Savage, and I was right there, and one of the kids in the white turtleneck pointing to go back in the ring. Of course, he went back to the ring. But I sit here now, my dad lives with me, right? He's older, has some health problems, and he likes Roman Reigns. I didn't get him to like Roman Reigns, just likes him. So, you mentioned that, and we all like things for reasons beyond just pissing other people off or whatever it is, right?
Hey, I'll add on to Evan. Yeah, my father, he's on the older side too and everything. I was watching at his house for Royal Rumble this past week and everything. We had a great time, and I took him to Survivor Series 2023 was the one where CM Punk came back. Had a great time and stuff. So yeah, even if your parents and stuff are still here, you got other older family members, cherish those times. If wrestling's something that brings you all together, it's an amazing thing. Hey, Bill Goldberg actually got me and my stepfather to bond when I was a real little kid. I was like, oh, Bill Goldberg, and he ended up going like, oh, you like wrestling too, and we've been close ever since then. And that's why when Goldberg retired, it did hit me sentimentally, because I'm like, man, Goldberg doing his thing helped bonded me and my stepfather together, and those are the true moments that really, I think, mean the most for what these professional wrestlers do and stuff.
Wrestling is the proletarian performance art, theater for the people, good versus evil. Yeah. It's simple. Everybody can relate to it. And we all love it, whether we agree or disagree. Let me tell you, disagreeing makes for a better program. If everybody sits for 2 hours and just goes, that was great, that was great, that was great, you don't have a show. So
but that's why I wanted you on, because I knew you were opinionated about Roman Reigns, and I know Virtue loves Roman Reigns, and you guys might clash, but actually you guys did agree on quite a few things.
There was a denominator called Jacob Fatu in there somewhere with us, so it was just like, all right. Thank you. All right, Big G, over to you, because I see you're you're getting bored.
It's past his bedtime.
Go.
It's past my bedtime now. So everywhere you can follow me on the socials at OBG Original Big G1, Instagram Original Big G 1988. It was a pleasure to be on with everybody. Evan, it was a pleasure to meet you. Get to listen to what you had to say. So
thank you.
Very enjoyable tonight.
Thank you, number one Jeff Jarrett fan. All right, Gino, co-moderator. You will be moderating next week. Go ahead.
Yep, that's right. I'll be moderating next week. Evan, very nice to meet you. Very happy we got to do this together. Song, always a pleasure. Big G, love these videos are getting better of you coming into the ring and challenging Jeff Jarrett. Looking forward to that. Now, if you guys want to find me, Noah and I broke down the predictions league for the Royal Rumble. We're doing that now on Sunday, so it's right after the event. Go check that out on my channel or Noah's channel, hopefully both. And as always, guys, catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you, Gino. Aaron.
All right, we got 2 quick super chats here, and then we'll wrap this up. The Anime Gen 2.017 says, "Who wins, Bad Bunny versus Kid Rock? Is this a
Bad
wrestling match?"
Ratings because he's on the actual Super Bowl. The other one's like a different. It's like on the internet or something like that. So come on, Bad Bunny's internationally famous.
Yeah, Kid Rock would probably get his ass kicked. I don't know. I couldn't say. I'll go with
Bunny's
Bad Bunny.
match wasn't bad in WWE.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'd go with Bad Bunny. Big G, Bad Bunny.
I thought they were talking about the Super Bowl halftime shows.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like, I think that's what they're getting at.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's what they're getting at because of the whole Bad Bunny being on the halftime Super Bowl and then them Kid Rock and all these other people are doing something on the internet.
No. Yeah.
Kid Rock.
I mean, I like some of Kid Rock's music, but
from Detroit, Aaron, tough.
Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. Says, "What are the best and worst Nicolas Cage movies?" Face Off.
Leaving Las Vegas was amazing. Great
Con
performance.
Air, always. I loved Con Air. It can be
Oh,
the
yeah.
cheesiest camp thing, but I loved Con Air. And The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. Don't sleep on
Yeah, that was really good. Yeah.
How about Raising Arizona? Is that the name of it?
Oh, yeah. Great.
Yeah.
Great.
I like that movie.
All right, some good choices there. All right, so that's it. We're caught up here. Thank you so much, Evan, for being on. It was
My
great to have
pleasure.
you on.
Anytime. I
changing things
enjoyed
up.
it. Anytime.
Yeah, we would love to have you on anytime. And what you said is very true. You know, making the connections with people. You know, my dad was a huge Captain Lou Albano fan, and we would do the bedroom wrestling when I was a kid. And he was like doing the Lou Albano shtick, and then he would do commentary like as Superstar Billy Graham. And he had the tapes, so we would watch the wrestling tapes. He taped everything in the '80s. So you know, he used to go to the Garden when he grew up in New Jersey, so he would go to the Garden in the '70s, and then he moved to California. But he would tell me all those stories, and going to the Garden in 2023 was like a really cool moment for me. That was one of my wrestling bucket list things to do. So
Tell you 30 seconds. I walk into Madison Square Garden as a kid, June 24, 1974. That it stays in your mind forever. Nikolai and Blassie against Bruno and Strongbow on top. I walk into Madison Square Garden. The first thing I think is, wow, it's in color. Because I had a black and white TV. And it was like dropping into Oz, like the Wizard of Oz.
Oh, yeah.
And it was magic. It was magic.
yeah, that I can't relate to that degree, but like with the way high definition television is now, it doesn't feel quite as special going to a live event because of the quality that you have. Like back in the 90s, like going to the Royal Rumble and seeing everything up close and in person, like it was just a different vibe. And on the TV, you just didn't get that. Now it's about as good. It's as good as it's ever been. And probably will just keep getting better, and there'll be less of a need to go to the live shows because you can just watch at home high definition television. And as the technology keeps getting better, it's not quite as special going to the live events.
You know, eventually they're probably going to make something with VR sets, and it'll be like you're right there.
Yeah.
My cat is training for the Olympics behind me. Do you see this?
All right.
The wheel.
I
So
did
we
see the
need
cat
more
jumping
cat
up, yeah.
cameos on these streams.
Yeah.
So yeah, just check out NoDQ.com for the latest.
Aaron loves cats so much. When he had him, he actually had their own apartment. They had their own apartment they lived in. That's how much he loves cats.
True
I love
story.
my cats.
My wife is allergic to animals, so I had to have a separate apartment to have them live. You know,
Wow.
so
Wow.
yeah, it was quite the investment. But thankfully, I live in Michigan, not in New York, and that might not have been feasible.
Yeah, what Virtue was saying before, you were underestimating. The average rent where I am is $3,000 a month. Manhattan's $6,000 a month. 4, 5, 6 grand a month.
Some of these ones I was watching on YouTube in Manhattan that were like half that, they were like the micro.
Right. Yeah.
Like small shared bathroom type. Yeah.
Yeah, crazy.
All right. Well, follow me on X if you dare at NoDQ_Virtue. Yes, Aaron?
All right, we got one more here from Richard Momon 2747 says, "Do you see the women main event a night to WrestleMania within the next 5 years, and who should be the headliners?" Well, beyond Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair, maybe Liv Morgan, I don't know who could be in that position to be in a main event. I mean, maybe night one. I don't know about night two. Anybody have a thought on that?
They did
Bianca.
They did headline when it was this one night before, so which was event closing. So never say never, but it's going to take like real momentum from at least one of the females to make that a thing that they're going to consider.
Yeah, but again, what Evan was saying earlier, they need some new star power to come in, and they can't just, Rhea Ripley's already been around for 5 or 6 years now, so they really need to start building up some of these new women, and hopefully they'll be able to get somebody at that level of superstardom and pull the trigger on them and not wait too long.
Yeah,
I will
There's a
say,
lot
I
of
think
young
Bianca
female
Belair and Lash Legend is going to be a big main event waiting to happen.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Or
well,
Jade
we'll
and
see.
Lash, for sure.
We'll see if they pull the trigger on Lash or not. But anyways, Virtue, go ahead and wrap us up.
Yeah, x.com, if you dare, at NoDQ_Virtue. And there's the WrestleMania main event right there. All right. That's it for Evan, for Son, for Gino, for Big G, for Aaron, and the whole NoDQ crew and Galaxy Colin, too. We'll see you again next week. And remember, Gino will be moderating. Good night, everybody. Enjoy.
Deuces.